I can remember feeling lonely and confused from pretty early on. I remember struggling with the lack of belonging. Being in that state made me feel so vulnerable. Like anything could just come along and hurt me. I remember watching movies and seeing these big families or these strong friend groups and longing for a sense of home like that. The feeling that things were going to be okay. I'd watch romantic movies and have similar longings. Like there was a magic there. As far as my 5-year-old brain could tell, finding a girl that genuinely loves me would be the greatest accomplishment I could ask for. As I got a little older, I became aware of the danger that people could represent. I think I felt deeply insecure, and I think I felt afraid. That left me as a kind of shell of myself, almost like there was a public and a private me. I had these thoughts and feelings I was safe to express with myself, but on the outside I was quiet and reserved. Never really trusting the people around me because, as far as I was concerned, they weren't trustworthy. Around this time, I realized that girls like I saw in movies actually do exist. That they can be kind-hearted and empathetic. That they can be curious about you and stand by you. At that point, I was helpless. I couldn't help but fall in love. The thing about love is that it's profoundly dangerous. It's a dangerous state of mind. It's dangerous because it makes you so fragile. If done well, it can make life a beautiful, meaningful experience. But if it goes poorly, it can damage you so deeply that you may never recover. I remember the despair that heartbreak put me in, the powerlessness of it, the longing and self-hatred that comes with it, the sensitivity. Somewhere along the way, I got bitter. I think I stopped believing in a beautiful world and got jaded. I realized that the world is trying to punish me, but I've done nothing wrong. I realized that I wasn't going to stop until I was destroyed and that justice doesn't exist for me for whatever reason. I think that thought eventually consumed me, and I became angry. Around my teen years, I decided that I wasn't going out laying down, that I was tired of feeling weak and powerless, tired of feeling insecure. So I became a caricature of my resentment. I leaned so far into power that I couldn't recognize myself. I started this crusade to become powerful, to become a force of nature. And honestly, it was working. I was becoming disciplined. I was becoming courageous. Pretty soon the people around me were the ones who seemed weak and afraid, and I was free to do as I pleased. That vengeful mindset was effective but exhausting. It isolated me and made me tired and old. I was pushing people away with my nothing to lose attitude and my arrogance. I think I didn't understand why people were pushing me away at the time. It seemed like they were angry at me for taking charge of my life and becoming formidable. I probably resented them for that. The truth was nothing like that, obviously. In reality, they didn't even know what was going on. Probably just felt like I'm kind of strange and an asshole sometimes. Towards the end of high school, the death of a family member and the prospect of graduation had me thinking deeply about the future. It seemed like everyone around me was pushing down a specific path. Something like achieve and maintain good grades so you can make it to a good university, so that you can graduate with a high-quality degree, so that you can have as safe and stable a life as possible in the workforce. Then, maybe get a family, grow old, and die. When I tried to imagine doing those things at the time, it seemed to be the most meaningless thing I could imagine. I remember getting deeply confused. I realized that that's exactly what everyone around me at school was trying to do, whether they know it or not, and that most of the adults were already living it. I started walking slow to my classes because I became unsure of the product that I was being sold. I didn't care if I was late anymore. The other kids in school would get so angry at my walking pace because they were all in a hurry to achieve their life of slavery. Eventually, I just stopped showing up to school altogether. If it wasn't for my promise to my father, I would never have graduated high school. I was deeply nihilistic. It seemed like no one had any answers for me. Like the global consensus for the point or meaning of life was actually non-existent. Sometimes people would say, you make it up yourself. Like you make up the meaning of life for yourself, but I actually hadn't met or even heard of a person who had done that. I looked at people rushing to get to work or studying hard for exams, and it would literally blow my mind. I didn't understand how it's possible that they care about doing any of that. This kind of nihilism is paralyzing. It's a form of depression. The only thing I could bear to do at the time was distract myself of the reality of life to pass the time. Fast forward to 2020, and the pandemic was shutting the world down. I'd made some very close friends online during my antisocial years who I'd speak with almost every day. The lockdown was really hitting them hard though. It seemed to isolate people further, and in some cases people couldn't get their meds, and it actually had a profound impact on their mental health. 3 of my 4 online friends killed themselves within a few months of each other. They just disappeared. They became ghosts on my phone I could only speak to by rereading old conversations. That put me in a dark place. It felt like I was drowning. I've been in dark places like that since then. It seems I have a deep well for suffering. It's a strange thing to be in that state of mind. There's this profound, acute pain somewhere in your consciousness that you can't seem to pinpoint. With normal emotions, you can feel the physicality of it. You can associate thoughts with it. But this place I get to sometimes, it feels like the problem is that I'm awake. That there's a sticky substance stuck to my conscious mind that causes me acute pain. The only thing I can feel physically is that there's this sort of weight that makes me want to bow my head. And the only time it goes away is when I'm asleep or when I'm in deep meditation, which is about as close to sleep as you can get while you're awake. The thing about sleep and the rest it provides is that it's gone in a blink. You don't get to sit in it. You fall asleep and then almost immediately you're forced to wake up. I was disappointed and frustrated every morning because I kept waking up, and every day I'd be thrown back into the nightmare of being awake. That line of thinking started to make me feel claustrophobic. It turned out that this mental state wasn't permanent, thank God. It definitely didn't seem like it would end at the time, though. I was completely convinced while going through it that it would never end, and that life was just suffering. These experiences have made me intimately aware of the suffering that other people go through. If you've been through mental struggle, you can't hide from me. I could see it in your eyes. I could see it in your posture, in the tone of your voice. The awareness of these things has made me want to protect people around me from it. To protect the people closest to me so that they don't suffer in the same way. It's been a deeply disappointing thing to see that I failed at this miserably. That no matter how much I want to shield people from suffering, not only am I powerless to do so, but that I am oftentimes the actual cause of their suffering. That I'm causing them disappointment and heartbreak. That just by living and trying to survive myself, or even actively trying to be useful, people still end up getting hurt. Like I'm the rock that people break themselves against. There has to be more to this life thing. It can't just be hard-fought survival. It can't just be struggle and strife. There must be some meaningful resolution to justify my existence. I'm up at night as always, searching the dark corners of my mind for the answer that might allow me to rest. The answer that may free me from the shackles of this meaningless pit that I've been chained to. The deeper I search, the more my determination grows. I will not be broken. I will not be conquered. I will war and war with reality itself, and I'll have my revenge. I'll find the answer hidden in the dark.